Thank you guys so much for being here. Tonight is January 26th, and welcome to Team Forever Strong's weekly team calls. Tonight, we have a special guest speaker, Patrick Riehlman. And can you guys hear me all right? Just give me a thumb up. Okay, good. All right, so he's going to be speaking to us tonight, and you guys are really going to be able to relate to his journey as a coach. So before I introduce you to him and then turn it over to him, I just wanted to go over just a couple of important things on our laundry list that we have. So Team Cup registration. If you are not on a Team Cup, make sure that you reach out to either myself or your upline coach so that we can get you on a team. I know some people are missing like one or two people. So we'll all put our heads together and we will find, people on the team or people on the other teams or on the Beachbody Champions page. And we will get you guys together with your groups of 5 so that way you can get yourself registered and really take advantage of this. One last thing too, on Tuesday night, there will be my live coaching webinar. So stay tuned for the link for that too. This is a great opportunity for you guys to invite people to learn about this business and see what we do behind the scenes and to see if this is something that they'd be interested in doing in the future. This is how you build your team, by really taking advantage of these coaching opportunity events. And especially if you're a brand new coach and you're not used to running your own yet, or you haven't run one yet on your own, and you're not really sure how to do it, always take advantage of opportunities like this that your upline coaches run for you. Okay, so I don't want to keep blabbing and take away from the important piece of the call tonight. So tonight we have our guest speaker, Patrick Riehlman, and he has been in the business now. Is it 7 years, Pat?
Yeah, I think 8 actually now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So he's been in the business, guys, for 7 or 8 years. He's a former accountant. He's the founder of Team Boom. He's a 4-time elite coach in Beachbody. He has a downline of 3,000 people, 3,000 coaches. And get this, guys, he has 50 diamonds in his downline. 50. 50. That's like unbelievable. He is a multiple 6-figure earner. I want to make sure I got everything. And he's also hit Success Club for 48 consecutive months. Remember, that is the key to building your business. It's that consistency over time. And tonight he's going to be sharing his journey with you guys as a coach. And he's going to be really focusing on just keeping that big picture mindset and how it all boils down to doing those small, simple tasks every day that can lead you to this ultimate goal that you guys are all shooting for. So Pat, thank you so much for being here. You guys are going to love him. I met him a couple years ago when I first became a coach. His whole family, his sister is a coach, his mom is a coach. And he's got quite the interesting story, but he's really, really genuine guy, very humble. And he's got an amazing journey. He's built a successful business with this. So thank you so much for being here, Pat. You can take it away.
Awesome. All right, cool. Thanks for having me, guys. So I get asked, and when I do get asked, like, okay, how do you do this business? Like, what's the secret to it? Cut all the fluff. Give me like just a 1-sentence response. What's the secret? And really, like, I hate to say that there is a secret because there really isn't. But anytime someone says, how do I impact a ton of lives with this thing? Or how do I build a 6-figure income business? It really kind of comes down to one thing: developing leaders. And my thing is, like, I always wanted to find 5 people that wanted to do this with me. 5 people that believed in the products as much as me, that believed in the mission that Beachbody is all about as much as me, and believed in wanting to help other people as much as me, believed in wanting to create financial freedom so they didn't have to work for anybody else. They could make their own hours, be their own boss as much as I did and still do. So that was my thing, was, can I find 5 people? And that was the secret. So what I learned was, along the way, it wasn't even 5. If I could find 2 or 3 people, then I was going to be able to do those things. I was going to be able to help way more people than I ever could on my own. And then I was going to be able to create the kind of income that I needed to eventually be able to leave my accounting career and do this full time. So there's a catch though. There's always a catch, right? So the catch is, once you know that you got to find 2 or 3 leaders that want to run with you on this thing and they want to kind of build their own teams, the catch is those 2 or 3 people are usually pretty smart. They're usually pretty skeptical. they're usually people that get pitched a lot of things. And I'm a very analytical accountant. I'm very skeptical. Like when my buddy pitched me this thing, it was something that I had to watch. I had said no, and I had to watch him do this for a while. So when people tell you no, what they really mean is, I'm gonna say no, but what I really mean is not yet. And I'm gonna watch to see what you do. So the best analogy for me, who someone's a visual learner, is anyone here a visual learner on the call? All right, cool. I'm not alone on this. The best analogy I can give you guys is when I was a kid, I used to try to run up escalators at the mall that were going down. You guys know the escalators at the mall? You guys anyone on this, like anyone a troublemaker besides me that would like try to run up these escalators that were going down? Dad, I see Dad. He's a troublemaker. I could tell. Right?
I'm sure my husband Nick would be right there with you. He was quite the troublemaker.
Okay, good. So once I figured out that the key to this business was I got to find 2 or 3 leaders, and I realized that they're usually going to be people that are going to sit back and they're going to say no, but then they're going to watch you for a while. I realized it was very similar to trying to run up an escalator that's going down. And what I mean by that is when you first try to run up an escalator that's going down, or you first start this business, you're really excited, right? You're like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to run up this escalator. I'm going to get to the top. I'm going to do this business. I'm going to make this thing work. And you get on the escalator and you're running full speed, or you get in the business and you're inviting and you're connecting with all these people. You're posting on social media and you're running full speed, and you start to all of a sudden be like, oh man, like I'm running full speed and I've kind of been running for a while and my business isn't growing as fast as I want, or I'm not going up this escalator as fast as I thought. And what you got to realize is you're running up an escalator that's going down. And what you got to realize in the business is people are going to have to watch you for a while before they trust you. Because what they're thinking in their mind is, let me see if this person's really going to stay with these workouts. Let me see if they really are going to stay with this business. And what a lot of coaches do, and I'm one of them, and the reason that I've been a coach for 8 years and really I've only been successful with it for 4. The first 4 years were kind of not so successful. I didn't really do much with the business. I didn't really help a ton of people. I didn't earn any income my first 4 years. And I'll tell you why. I'd get really excited because I'd go to an event or I'd get on a call and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to get on this escalator and I'm going to run full speed and I'm going to share my journey on social media and I'm going to connect with people and it's going to be great. And I'd get kind of halfway up that escalator and I'd have all these people that were kind of interested. They started watching me, but I'd be like, man, they're not saying yes yet. And I'd stop posting. I'd stop inviting. I'd stop connecting with people. And what happens when you're on an escalator and you stop moving up it? You go back down. And that's the same thing that happens in this business. You invite all these people, you connect with them, they kind of start watching, and then they see you stop. And you lose all that trust, all that credibility. They go, see, I knew they weren't going to stay with those workouts. I knew they weren't going to stay on that healthy lifestyle. I knew they weren't going to keep doing that business. I'm glad I didn't join them. And that's what happened to me. I did that to myself over and over again for years. And finally, I got to the point where I saw all these other coaches get on the escalator, stay really consistent, and make it to the top, because they weren't doing it because it was yes, it was part of their business, but they were doing it because it was a lifestyle they believed in. They loved it. They wanted to be physically and mentally strong. So they'd get on the escalator and they did it because that was just for them. And they didn't care who joined them. They said, I'm doing this with or without you. If you want to come with me, great. If you don't, great. But I'm doing it. They weren't desperate for anybody. And so I finally made the decision. I said, all right, I'm doing this. And this time I'm not stopping because I just want to be healthy physically, mentally. I'm doing this for me. And if other people want to be a part of that journey, great. And if they don't, great. But I'm not going to twist anybody's arm. And as soon as I started doing that, about 6 months in, people started noticing. They were like, you're still doing this thing. And he's not desperate for me. And he's going to be successful. And either I can go with him and join him on this thing, or I can sit back and watch. And that was the decision they had to make. And after about a year of doing that, all of a sudden my business started to take off. All of a sudden people started to get on board because they trusted me. They knew I wasn't going to go anywhere. That's the thing that most people are looking for in a leader, is just the trust that you're not going to go anywhere. And that's going to take time to prove to people. That's the key to the business. Find 2 or 3 people that want to build this thing with you. If you find 2 or 3 leaders that want to run this thing and they want to start to build teams of their own, you guys are going to be able to create an awesome business, going to help so many people. And financially, it's going to be whatever you have on your list of your why you're doing this, you're going to nail that thing. But you got to understand that they're going to be the kind of people that need to sit back and kind of watch. And guess what? They're not going to like anything you post, and they're not going to comment on anything you post, but they're watching, which is kind of how it works. So that's the secret. How do you make this thing a success? You find 2 or 3 people that are leaders that get to the point where they're going to build their own teams and they're going to run with you on this thing. And you got to stay on the escalator. Just kind of how it works. It's going to be slow at first, right? So the next thing I'm always curious about is like, all right, how come some people get on this escalator and they stay on it and they stay consistent with inviting and connecting and they stay consistent with their own journey, and some don't. Most don't. And really, the 2 things that the people that end up staying on the escalator long enough to attract those leaders to their business is, number 1, they have a very, very powerful why. So, I call it like a why list, because everyone's going to ask you in this business, what's your why? What's your why? You hear it all the time. I think you got to have a list of things that are your why, from like the small stuff to the big stuff. So I had a coach, I was doing this with one of my new coaches, and I was like starting to help them create their why list. And one of the things she said was, I want to be able to afford the softer, more expensive toilet paper. And I said, add that shit to the list. That's perfect. So that was like kind of on the beginning of the why list. And then she had like, all right, I started laughing. I was like, that's great. All right. And then, all right, so now let's say, you're making enough to, how much is that toilet paper again? And I was like, all right, great. Now let's say you've done that. What's your next goal? And she was like, okay, I'd like to, pay like for my Shakeology. I was like, perfect. And then she was like, cell phone bill. And then she was like, I'd like to, start to pay off some of my student debt. And I was like, okay, great. And then the next, we kind of went up the list. And then eventually, even for her, she wanted to eventually make this kind of her full-time income so she could have the freedom to, to do whatever she wanted to do, was spend more time with her family and travel and just be present in her family's life. And so we created this why list from the small all the way up, to the big. And that's, I think, what I think a lot of coaches, when you ask them, why are you doing this? Why are you in this business? Why are you a coach? And they think of something, and it's like the only time they think about it is when you ask them. And there's no emotional connection to it. If you like write stuff down, I know it's cliche. I'm not a woo-woo guy. I'm an accountant. I'm very like analytical, but there is some crazy power behind writing things down and looking at it every day. It's just versus just only thinking about it when someone asks you what it is. So if you don't have a why list and you haven't written it down and haven't put it somewhere that you see it, that would be the first thing, that I tell you to do. So that's the other thing I tell my coaches is, okay, great. Like, and part of their why has to be wanting to help other people. You have to have a love for helping other people. If you don't have a love for helping and connecting with other people, it's not going to be your thing. But you don't have to have a business to help people. So why did you start a business? There's got to be something that's personal to you and your future and your family and your family's future. And that's got to be part of your why, and it's got to be on that why list, and it's got to be something you're looking at and thinking about and visualizing every day. That's going to be what's going to fill your tank and give you that why fuel to show up on the days you don't feel like it. That's what's going to get you to make time on the days you don't have time. So that's the first thing, is the coaches that stay on that escalator when it's slow at first and people are only watching and they're not saying yes yet. They have a very powerful why and a why list that they're looking at every day that's getting them to stay on that escalator and show up every day. The other thing is they have a very strong belief that the things that they're doing every day are actually going to get them to the things on their why list. And kind of the way I help coaches get that belief and strengthen that belief is I reverse engineer it. So we already know the key to the business, the secret to the business is finding those 2 or 3 leaders, those 2 or 3 people that want to do this with you. And those 2 or 3 people are going to be people that are going to be coming out of your challenge groups, because they're going to be people that, number 1, love the products, but number 2, believe in the accountability that a coach provides. Because Beachbody has the best products in the world. If you actually follow the workouts and the meal plan and you drink Shakeology, you're going to get amazing results. Like, there's no doubt about that. But most people don't. And that's why coaches are the glue to this entire business. They're the glue to the whole corporation, the whole Beachbody corporation. The coaches are the glue to that, because the products are amazing, they work, but we're the ones that get people to stick with it and get the real results. You guys with me so far? Cool. So those 2 or 3 leaders, they're coming from your challenge groups. How do you get people in your challenge groups, though? I'm looking around. Guess what? It's the escalator. The way you get people to say yes to do your challenge groups is to be on that escalator. Sometimes for 6 months, sometimes a year for some people. They need to see you on that on your journey for a year before they say yes. So when someone tells me no, I think that's a great thing, because what I've just done is planted a seed. When someone tells you no, they are going to watch you a lot closer now. And that's what being on the escalator is all about. You plant the seed, that no is a good thing. You've planted that seed. Now they're going to watch, and they're not going to like anything you post. They're not going to comment on anything you post, but they are watching. And they're seeing it. They're waiting to see what you do with this. So we're the secret to the business, 2, 3 leaders. Those 2, 3 leaders come from your challenge groups. People in your challenge groups are going to be the people that are going to say no at first and then watch you stay on the escalator. And the only way you can mess this thing up is if you quit, is if you stop, is if you take breaks. You don't have a boss that's going to say, hey, you're really slow at this. You're not doing well enough. You're fired. It doesn't work that way. You are the boss. There's no time limit on this thing. I was terrible for years. But because I was the boss of my own business, I didn't get fired. I knew that the only way I would mess it up, the only way I wouldn't be successful, is if I just quit, or if I never stayed consistent, if I never stayed on that escalator, if I never reached out and got those no's and planted those seeds and then just stayed on this escalator long enough. To me, it was like it's 110% inevitable that if I continue to connect with people and stay consistent with my own journey and stay on this escalator long enough, it's inevitable that I'm going to find 2 or 3 people that believe in the products as much as me, that believe in the mission that Beachbody has as much as me, that believe in coaching as much as me, that want to create that financial freedom in their life as much as me, that want to live a life that has no constraints as far as job or boss or hours or vacation days. Those things are not in my vocabulary anymore. And I knew I was going to find other people that didn't want those things, that wanted to break free of those. I knew it. The only way I wouldn't eventually is if I stopped being consistent. So, escalator mindset. We say that all the time on my team. #escalator mindset. You got to have it. And the thing that the coaches that have that escalator mindset, they have a very strong why. They have a why list, and they have a very strong belief that the things they're doing every day are going to inevitably get them to everything on that why list. And they know it. It's not even like, I hope. Because some people hope, and then there's the coaches over here that just know it's inevitable. And if you're over here hoping it works, that's fine. I was over there too. But the way you get over on this side is hang out with coaches that are already over here, because their attitude's contagious. It is. So that's the whole mindset part of it. There's a second part of it that's the skills, but honestly, 80% of this business is the mindset. If you have the escalator mindset, you have the belief, you have that something that's very powerful, that everything on that why list, doing something that's meaningful, that's really helping other people, and then that's something that's personal to you and your family and your family's future, you guys are unstoppable. The only way you can mess it up is if you stop trying, right? So then it's like, all right, boom, we got the 80%, we got the mindset. So let's get into the skills side of it. And honestly, it's not like a very complicated thing. I think I could teach these skills to to like an 8th grader probably. So the first skill is, sharing your journey on social media. This is very difficult for a man to do. This was very hard for me to do this, but I knew, if I wanted to make this thing work, I had to, share and show other people what I was up to. So if you're going to share your journey on social media, number one, you got to be on a journey yourself. You got to be doing your workouts. For a coach who's new, or a coach that is falling off and needs to kind of get back on track, like if they need a quick, what's a quick tip to kind of get my thing going again? Commit to a full program and do every workout from the program every day, and follow the meal plan and share that just on journey on social media. Quickest way to get your business back on track or to get started. So number one skill, sharing that journey on social media. I'll tell you a thing that helped me a lot was I was very unsure about can I post this? Do I want to get in people's news feeds? And if you're nervous about posting on social media, the thing that helped me was when I was nervous about posting, was because I was in my head and I was focused on myself. Not like in an egotistical way, but in a way of I was worried about what other people would think of me if I posted on social media. As soon as I made the shift from my head and focusing on myself and what other people thought, and I came from my heart and focused on being in service to others, the posts were just kind of would flow. Because I would think to myself, is this something that helped me? Is this something I believe in? And I was like, yeah, of course I believe in it because it works. So why not share it? And I came from my heart, and I knew that it was going to connect with others. And if it didn't connect with some, that was okay, because I got out of my head and stopped focusing on what other people would think. All I focused on is this is probably going to be something that's going to connect with others because it helped me. So I made that shift from my head to my heart. And you do this. I mean, I'm not a public speaker by any means. I was an accountant, I was like, give me the spreadsheet. I don't want to talk to people. Right. But I do these calls now, and I still have that, why am I doing these calls? I just want to be buried, in a Excel spreadsheet or something. But that's that again, I do the same thing. It's so easy to get caught up in your head and worry about what other people think of you. It's just how our brain works. It's just what our mind is doing. But every time I think, okay, it's not about me. It's not about what these other people think of me. It's about sharing something that's worked for me. And it's not going to connect with everyone, but hopefully it's going to help at least one person, or it's going to help a few. And I just constantly, I'm telling myself that it's not about you. It's about sharing what's worked for you. And hopefully it lands with others. It's not going to land with everybody, but that's okay. And what I realized was if it doesn't land with some people, it's just not, they're not my people. It's just, they can unfollow me, they can unfriend me. And that's something that you got to get out of your head about and again, come from the heart. So that's the number one skill is posting it on social media. The other thing I'll say on that is, you don't have to be perfect. If you try to be perfect, you're never going to connect with people. I think a big mistake Beachbody coaches make is they only talk about what they're excited about. And if you go around talking with people about what you're excited about, you're never going to relate to them. You're never going to connect with them. If you share what you're struggling with or what you've struggled with in the past, that's how you connect. Because they feel that pain, and because they have that same pain themselves. And then they're willing to listen to how you're getting past that. But if you're only going around saying, I'm so excited and this business is amazing and these workouts are amazing, they're like, oh my God, enough of this person. They're insane. But if you're willing to be vulnerable and say, hey, this is something I struggled with. This is something I'm struggling with. This is how I'm trying to get through it. This has been helping me. You've connected with them, and now they're willing to listen. So again, get out of your head. Don't worry about what other people think of you. Just focus on how I can connect and help the most amount of people. And the way you do that is by being vulnerable and just sharing the things that that you struggled with, that you didn't like about your past situation or your current situation. And then you'll connect with people that don't like those same things about their current situation. And then they're willing to listen to, how you've been able to get through that. So that's the first skill. Just kind of posting with a purpose, sharing on social media, getting out of your head, posting to connect with some people, not trying to make everybody love you and not trying to be in your head about that crap. Okay. So second skill, and I think this is a big one that a lot of coaches overlook. And it's something that I know all the top coaches that are doing really well, they do this every day. And the other coaches do it every once in a while. Connecting with new people. Adding new people to your network each day. If you're not connecting with new people, you're not going to have more eyes on your journey. If you're not getting more no's, you're not planting seeds. If you're not planting seeds, you're not going to have a business. So that's something that I still do, is I'm connecting with new people each day. And for me, it's quality over quantity. I don't go on there and say, I got to connect with a certain amount of people, and it's just the first few people that show up. I take my time to kind of look, I use Facebook and Instagram, and I look to see, like in Facebook groups, like if you go on different Facebook groups or different Facebook fan pages or local groups, I mean, every town has a Facebook group for garage sales, or a mother's group, or a group of like some hobby that you love in your local area, and you go in there and you just connect with people each day. Or if you're on Instagram, you can search hashtags and look for people. I'm always looking for people that that they have things in their profile or on their news feed that are things I would want to show up in my news feed, because those are the people that I want to connect with. If I go to their page and it's nothing I really want to see in my news feed, then I just kind of move on, because I'm not so concerned with the number of people I connect with. It's more the quality of the people I connect with, because again, I'm always thinking big picture. I'm always making sure my coaches think big picture, which is I need to find 2 or 3 leaders that just are that same kind of DNA as me. I don't need 1 million. I need 2 or 3. So it's never, I need to connect with this amount of people. I need to connect with those people that I really have things in common with, that I want to show up in my news feed. So quality over quantity, but you got to be connecting with people every day. If it's one person a day, hey, that's better than none. That's the second skill. Got to be connecting with new people each day. The other cool thing about that is when you're connecting with new people each day, especially as like a new coach, not only is that better for your business, but it's also better for your mindset, because when you're connecting with people that are those quality people that you really have some things in common with, and now you're friends with them on Facebook and you're posting about your journey, and they now are friends, and your posts kind of show up in their news feed, you're going to get more people commenting and liking and encouraging you. So that's a great boost for a new coach, or just any coach. So it's good for that reason as well. So third skill that I teach my coaches is inviting people to their challenge groups or to a free group, but you got to be inviting. All right. So again, inviting for me, it's the same thing. I'm not so focused on, oh my God, like how am I going to look to this person? It's more of how can I be of service to this person? So I don't hesitate to ask them, because I don't want to put a no in their mouth for them. If I don't ask them, I've put a no in their mouth. If I ask them, I allow them to say no, which I'd rather give them the opportunity to say no than to assume that it's a no. And then let them say no, and then let them now watch me even closer. And when I'm inviting someone to a challenge group, they can tell that I don't really give a shit about the $50 commission that I make if I buy a challenge pack. They can tell that my job is not to sell a challenge pack. My job starts when they buy the challenge pack. They can tell that when they buy the challenge packs, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I'm going to get to work, and I'm going to give them the best experience possible, because they're not buying a challenge pack, they're buying me. And so when I'm inviting, I'm going through a process of asking them about their goals. I'm asking them about where they've struggled in the past. I'm asking them what they really want to get out of this. Because if you're just trying to sell a challenge pack, all they're going to think of is, I've tried diets before, I've tried workouts, and nothing's ever worked. But if you're willing to dig deep and show them that they're not just getting a challenge pack, they're going to get you, they're going to be willing to jump in on this because they've never had that before. So when I'm inviting, I'm starting to lay that, I'm already giving them an experience. And you guys, when I do the invite process, it's the same thing that everyone else does. It's a little five-step invite. Number one is just inviting them to do a 21-day challenge. And I'm like very nonchalant about it. You know, I'll say something like, hey, when are we going to do a 21-day challenge together? Because all I want them to do is ask me what's a 21-day challenge. Or, hey, you think you can handle one of my 21-day challenges? Or, hey, I think it'd be fun to do a 21-day challenge together if you're up for it, ? It's just a quick little sentence. It's like inviting someone to a party on Friday night. Hey, you want to come? I'm having a party Friday. You want to come over? I don't like throw all the details at them at once. It's not like, hey, like come over to my house for a party Friday. Like there's going to be, when you open the door, like you got to turn the doorknob like kind of halfway. It doesn't really, it's kind of sticks sometimes. Then you got to walk up the stairs. I might not be able to ring the doorbell right at the right time, but like you just say, hey, I'm having a party Friday. I'd love you to be there. Hey, I'm running a 21-day challenge on February 6th. I think it'd be fun to do together, period. And then they're going to ask you, well, what is it? And then that allows you to say, hey, there's a few options. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions to help you pick the best one? And that's when you get to dig in on what their goals are, where they've struggled in the past. That's where they start to realize, wow, this is very different than anything they've ever had and I've ever gone through before, because I've never had this kind of coaching before. It's not even really coaching. It's just someone in your corner. So inviting for me is really where people start to realize that they're not just buying a challenge pack. They get me. And that kind of leads into the fourth skill, which is you got to give your challengers an amazing experience. And this is really like the foundation of my business, because I really fall in love. I love it. Like I get in those challenge groups and I'm like doing the workouts with them. I'm posting and I make it fun, you know, like it's an experience, and people love it so much that they want to give that experience to other people. Right. So the reason that fourth skill of giving your people an amazing experience in your challenge groups is such the foundation for my business, at least, is because the reason I love it so much, or because I love it so much, is why so many people want to get in the challenge groups, because like you said, they're not just buying the challenge pack. And then because they love the experience so much, they want to give that experience to others. So they're more likely to become a coach. And then when they become a coach, they typically give the same experience to their clients that you gave to them. So they make a better coach. So the experience you give your challengers is really, to me, the foundation of the business. And I have like on my YouTube channel, like a whole half-hour video strictly on like what I do in my challenge groups to give people a great experience. But I'll tell you one thing that's really helped is I do a little consistency post each week. And with the new app, like now that helps because people can track. They get to hit the little button that they did their workout in their Shakeology. But that little consistency each week that says like, all right, here's everyone's name, and this person commented like 7 times during the week. It gets people to really want to show up. It's amazing how much more consistent people are when they have a number that shows up next to their name. I do it every day, to be honest. Like I started doing it every week, but if you guys are every day, if you want to just do it once a week, that helps. But I do it every day. It's like on day 2 of the challenge, it's everyone's name and a little number next to the name that says 1. And you don't have to like make a fun graphic. It could just be, you just type it. You just say, here's the person's name, 1. Here's the next person's name, 1. Here's the next person. And then the next day, like 2. And then like nobody wants to fall behind. No one wants their number to dip. So what they do is they always go into the group to comment that they did their workout. And then when they go in there to comment with their workout, they see everyone else's workout and they see what everyone else is posting. And then they comment and engage and interact with people. And like in my prep week for my challenge group, I tell them two things, you guys. There's two things I want you guys to focus on in this prep week. Number one, get out of your freaking comfort zone and friend everybody that's in this group and interact with them, because the people that get out of their comfort zone and connect with the other people are the ones that have the best experience, and they're the ones that have the best results. It's a little private in the app or in the private Facebook group. Like, no one's going to see what you're doing except these people in the group. Connect with them, encourage them. They're going to encourage you back. You're going to have a better experience. You're going to get better result. It's going to be more fun. And the other thing is, I'm making sure that, they have all their questions answered with the containers, and with, making sure they know that sometimes Shakeology is going to take a few tries to get the right recipe and texture that they want. So they're going to be jumping in on day one, like ready to go. All their questions are answered. They know what the workouts, their calendars pinned up. They know how many of each container they're going to be eating. They're ready to rock and roll. They're pumped up. They've already connected with the other people in the group. They're starting to feel that community feel. They're ready to rock and roll. So that's the fourth skill, giving people that great experience. And then the fifth skill is then introducing your challengers to the coaching opportunity. And that is something that, I don't do that with every challenger. I do that with the people that I think, would make a great coach, someone that I would actually want to work with. Because again, I'm always thinking big picture, and I really only need 2 or 3 leaders that want to do this. And I already have those 2 or 3 leaders, and I already have the income that allows me the freedom and stuff. But now I love it so much that I keep doing it. But for someone that wants to, just have that income to, that 6-figure income or whatever your goal is, 2 or 3 leaders is what it takes. 2 or 3 people that really don't even really need you anymore. It's kind of funny. But you know what? I think the difference between a great leader and a leader that just has a bunch of followers is, a great leader is someone that doesn't want to be needed. They want to be succeeded. A leader that wants to be needed is never going to create really great leaders that don't need them anymore. They're always going to have these people that are dependent on them. As soon as you get away from, I need to be needed and wanted by my people, and I want them to succeed me and outgrow me, that's when you're going to find those really great people and develop great leaders that are going to allow you and your team to help way more people and give you the kind of financial freedom that is going to allow you to mold and create whatever kind of life you want, because you're going to have the freedom and the income to do that. So those are the 5 skills. And I think a lot of times coaches, they might be getting in a groove with their challenge groups, and then all of a sudden they hit this next fear, which is, oh my God, like, what if I get a coach and I don't even know I'm like a new coach. How am I going to train a new coach? Like, that's going to be crazy. And then they're like afraid to invite people to be coaches because of it. So I tell my coaches, I say, with these 5 skills, and I walk them through, I go, all right, on a scale of like 1 to 10, where are you with skill number 1? That sharing on social media. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with connecting with new people? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with inviting people to join a challenge group? Where are you with the experience you're giving people on a challenge group? Where are you with just inviting your challengers to take a look at the coaching opportunity? And if you can get your coaches and you can get yourself to be like, at a 7 or an 8 in all 5 of those, then all you got to do is just get your coaches to be at a 7 or an 8. Get yourself to a 7 or 8, and then help your coaches get to a 7 and 8, and you're going to blow this business out of the water, and there's no more to it than that. I think coaches do a really great job of overcomplicating this business, and it's really, really a simple business. It really is. I think people like to feel good about themselves and be like, it's so complicated, and I'm really great at it. And I'm like, it's not, and I'm not that great at it, and it's simple. I just stick with it and stayed on the escalator, and these skills are something an 8th grader could do. You just got to get comfortable with those little 8th grade skills and get other people comfortable with it, and get out of your head and get out of your ego and stay on the escalator, stay consistent with your own journey, come from your heart. You're going to find other people that are willing to do those same things, and you're going to crush this thing. That's all I got.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Patrick. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because when you talk about how simple the business is, I remember when I first became a coach 2.5 years ago, I remember being in the Coach Basics, and it was Keith Callahan running it. And I remember him saying the exact same thing. He said, Kathy, if you want to have success with this business and you want to create this life for your family that you say you want, it's a very, very simple business. What's hard is being self-disciplined enough to show up and do these basic steps every day that most people don't do. Choose to be the person who's going to do it no matter what, and make no excuses, and you will build a successful business.
Right.
And if you notice, guys, every single top leader that comes on our call and talks to us, they say the exact same thing. And what I really like about having different leaders like this on our call is that you're vulnerable with us. They share what our mistakes are, and we do that purposely so that way we can teach you guys something. We teach you guys from the mistakes that we've made. It's all a learning experience, right? So take the information that you got from him, but I wrote down some really awesome key points here that stood out to me that I hope that you guys took away with you too. And some of the key things, first of all, that stuck out to me were the escalator mindset. I love that. That's awesome. Staying on the escalator no matter what. That's so key. And on top of that, the other key things that really stuck out to me were belief. These are things that he said that I wrote down in my notes. Belief, consistency, and patience. When you heard him say that you're going to be doing this thing for 1 year to get people to develop that trust in you, to look credible, right? Not 3 months, not 1 month, not 6 months, 1 year of consistency of doing those skills that he went over. And if you can choose to be that person that shows up every day and stays on that escalator, and you do those skills every day that he reviewed, in 1 year from now, you will be in a different place than you are today. And you're thinking, how the heck am I going to stay on this escalator for 1 whole year? That might seem kind of difficult. It's 1 year. That's a long time. It's really not in the big scheme of things, guys. And if you have that solid found why that he went over, your purpose, why are you here? That emotional connection to it, and you're reviewing it and thinking about it and looking at it and reading it to yourself every single day when you sit down to work, there's nothing that's going to derail you from this business. You will be unstoppable, like he said. And it's funny because Nick and I always say, like, oh man, I can't believe it. We first started with this like 9 years ago when we did P90X. If I had known about coaching then, can you imagine where we would be? And I say, no, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I had started coaching 9 years ago, because 9 years ago, I didn't have a strong, powerful why. I know I would have been off that escalator. But when I got into this, I had that strong why, and it was to be home with my kids. So every night, that's what I thought of. And that's why I still choose to show up every single day, and I won't stop. So you need to have that strong purpose that he talked about. It's just so important. And I love how you touched on too, how it's 80% mindset, because I'm huge into mindset. And it really is, like, it literally is, guys, all up here, what you do with this business. It's all up here, but it's also going to be followed up with the right actions. And he went over so much good information. And I hope you guys took away a lot of good information. I have a couple questions here. If you don't mind, do you mind opening it up to a couple questions here for the last 5 minutes?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
I didn't realize that Keith Callahan's your upline.
Yeah, he is.
Him and I, we talk every Monday. We're success partners.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's awesome. He is, I'm telling you, I always refer to him. Like, it really is like when you have someone training you like that in the business, they have that, they exude that confidence. They know where they're going way before they even get there. It gives you more hope and belief. You know what I mean? And so, and you're not going to argue with someone like that who's telling you what to do, right? You're not going to try to do something different. And that's how I've always been. I've always been right by the book, follow what the rules are. And that's what I did, guys. And it is so true what you said about how so many times people overcomplicate this and they go into all these different things, and it's so simple. But
he's one of the ones that I followed. Like when I had been on the escalator and kind of got halfway up and then fell back down, I saw him start and do really well with this. And I lived in Boston at the time, so I would go to the Super Saturdays there once in a while. And I remember him always saying, like, if you can find 5 leaders, and his thing was like 5 stars. You can get 5 people and help them get the 5-star, and they don't even have to be personally sponsored. You're gonna be able to do whatever you want in life. Yep. And that just stuck with me. And I realized, like he said, like the only reason I wouldn't find those 5 people is if I stopped trying.
Mm-hmm.
what I realized it wasn't even 5. You know, if you can find 2 or 3, you know, people like that, then
Yeah.
you're gonna get.
Super simple. And I love that too. I always say that, guys, like the only way that this won't work for you is if you either choose to do nothing or you quit. That's it. Right? So it's all in your control.
Right.
And this business is really all about other people. It has nothing to do. You have your goals, you know where you want to be, but unless you are willing to kind of put yourself on the back burner and truly help other people get to where they want to be, you hit your goals naturally. Just naturally falls into place that way. So what would your advice be for a new coach on the team?
New coach on the team, I would say first would be, commit to a workout program like one and be like, I'm going to do this day one all the way through.
Okay.
Commit to the nutrition plan. That would be one. And then at the same time, commit to personal development. I would read a book called The Slight Edge.
Yep.
and I would just do that. You know, the workouts, the nutrition, read that book every day, and you know, kind of maybe share your journey on social media kind of while you're doing that.
Yep. All right. Thanks. What about advice that you would give to the coach who is starting to get discouraged? And you can see them starting to they might come off that escalator.
I would tell them they have 2 choices. They can either stay on this thing. They can add kind of one more thing to their already full plate, you know, for that year. Or they can let another year go by and be in the same place they are today.
Yeah, I love that.
And honestly, I did that, you know, the first few years. I chose to just let another year go by and be in the same place that I was the year before. And eventually you get to a point where the regret becomes a lot stronger than that discipline. And that's a Jim Rohn quote.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to suffer one of 2 pains. You're either going to suffer the pain of regret or the pain of discipline. And the discipline, the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret ends up weighing tons. And so for me, it was like, all right, I'm gonna have to go through a little bit of pain here to stay consistent with this business and stay on an escalator that's going down, because it's painful to run up an escalator that's going down and get all these no's and wait for people to eventually come back around and say yes. There's pain in that, but the pain of the regret and of being in that same place in 1 year from now that you are today, to me, became so much more painful.
Mm-hmm. So true. I love Jim Rohn too. I'm all about that stuff. I love that quote. And it's true, guys. You know, literally no's. I get like excited when I get more no's because it's just part of the business. And it's like he said, it's all about just planting seeds, and it's not about you. It's about when the time is right for them. You've done your part at least by planting the seed, and now when they are ready, they will know to come to you versus some other coach in the business, right? Or in the network.
Yeah. And so you're friends with my sister, Amy.
Yep.
Who's a 2-time elite coach. And so she had no interest in Beachbody in the business when I first started. And she was like, oh, it's a scam. Don't even talk to me about that. And I had the mindset of like, I never like felt desperate for her to do the business with me. I never felt like I was had to twist her arm and make her do this. It was like, that's fine. She doesn't get it. It's not her thing. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it without her. Obviously I'd love her to do it with me because she's my sister and I love her, but I'm going to continue to do this. And man, I'm really glad I did, obviously, because, you know, now I have that kind of freedom to travel and do whatever I want and be my own boss and do something that I feel like really gives my life a lot of meaning and is making a real difference. But even more than that, it's given my sister those same things too. And if I had given up and quit, she wouldn't have the life that she has. And there's a lot of people in your life, you know, that are close to you that you guys really care a lot about. that probably are going to be giving you shit, like she kind of was with me, that you guys are going to end up inspiring to change their life, and they're going to create a life that they really are proud of, that they love, like my sister has. And that's something that's even more meaningful than what I've been able to do for my own life, which is sappy, but I can feel I can feel that emotion going through my body just talking about it. So, but, and I look back, you know, thinking that I could have easily given up on this thing. And my sister could have been, you know, at a job that she just was kind of going through the motions in her life.
Yeah, that's such an awesome story. I remember going to some event and talking to her, and she was telling me all about it. And it's awesome. I love when that happens. Your mom does it too, right? Works the business.
Yeah. Yep. My mom and both of my sisters and my dad, they all, you know, eventually when they came around.
Right. Well, 7 years, 8 years in, people are like, wait a minute, maybe I should check this thing out now.
Yeah, dude. So like the whole, you know, you got to build two legs. So I didn't like have one leg kind of built for me. So one leg I built was my family and friends and everybody. And then the other leg I built with social media. So like, as you know, my social media leg and customer leads started growing, then, you know, my family got more into it too. So
that's so awesome. I love it. Just two more things here. All right. What would you say to someone who's completely now fallen off the escalator, and you know that they have the potential, but they're off the escalator? Like they're off.
Yeah.
They're back down at the bottom.
Right. That's like a one-on-one conversation I would have with them.
Yeah.
You know, to again, like go over, you know, their why list, you know, to ask them like to remind them that this isn't like a dress rehearsal. You only get one shot at this life. And, you know, what do you want to do with it? Like, is it something is this Beachbody thing something you really want to do? And why? You know, for some people, there's going to be like small things that are, you know, financial or keeping themselves accountable to their own workouts. I think is a very small thing. That's like one of the first things that they need to, again, realize is that, hey, if I get back into this, if I've totally fallen off, you know, is it important for me? To me, is it important to be, you know, healthy myself? And that's like, I would probably just start right there and ask them, is that something that's important to you? And then hopefully it is, right? And then, you know, get them to understand that, you know, being a coach is going to help them stay accountable to that. And then ask them, is it important to you to connect with other people that want to be on that same journey too? But, you know, I would just talk to them about, you only got one life. You know, you only got one shot at this thing. Do you want to do something that you're going to be like excited about? Do you want to do something that is going to make a real difference? Do you want to connect with other people that want that same thing out of life? And I would have that conversation with them. I would try to figure out what's important to them and get them out of that rut.
That's a great answer. So we have a lot of newer coaches on the call here tonight. Could you just paint them a picture of what your freedom looks like now, 7 or 8 years in the business, of being on the escalator and being consistent?
Yeah, paint them the picture. Yeah, sure. Well, I have no responsibilities. No, I mean, honestly, like I can do, you know, I could literally like just not do anything, and I would have the, you know, the income to do whatever I wanted, which, you know, which is an option. And I do that at times, you know, like I started the first 2 weeks of this year, I went to New Zealand and I didn't look at my Facebook for I posted once in a while, but I didn't like look at my business or anything for 2 weeks, and made I made like $14,000 the first 2 weeks of the year, not looking at anything. So, and I don't like to talk about money because people are weird about it. But to me, like money, I think if you're a good person, it just gives you more to be good with and do good with. So, yeah, it allows me to do things that, you know, I signed up to get certified to teach kids mindfulness because that's something that's helped me so much. And I wish that's something they taught in school. You know, there's things that I learned through personal development that are so much more important than like a lot of the facts I learned in school. So now I have the freedom to give back and do some of the things that I want to do. It's given my life like something that has a lot of meaning. Like I feel like I used to be an accountant and I would help a lot of corporations that made billions of dollars save money in taxes. And now I get to, you know, help people get excited about their life, which is cool. So yeah, I think those are the two things, the freedom to just not have any boss constraints of where I have to be, vacation days. I don't have to worry about that. And then also just, you know, doing something that makes me excited to get up in the morning.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Stay on the escalator, guys, all right? Be consistent in those skills.
And the last thing I'll say is, like, I think one thing we overlook about this coaching thing is, you know, the products are amazing and the business opportunity is amazing. I think the one thing we overlook is the community, the people that you get to surround yourself with. I'm a huge believer that, you know, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, whatever, you know, that thing. I think that's so true. So yeah, aside from the amazing products and the amazing business opportunity, I think the fact that we get to plug into this community that's going to attract so many really good-hearted, positive people, that's just going to make you a more positive person.
I know. I love that. That's one of my favorite pieces too, is having like a second little family here. You know, you meet so many awesome people. They become your closest friends. And it's so nice to be surrounded by people who like think the same way you do and are motivated and driven to improve their life.
Right.
Just settling for mediocre. You know what I mean?
And can I say one more thing?
Yeah, definitely. Keep going.
One more thing. And then I'll let you guys go.
Okay.
All that stuff I talked about, I was so terrible at all of it when I first started. Horrible at all those skills. I was horrible at the escalator mindset. You know, talking on a call, like I wouldn't even get on a team call that when I first signed up, because I was afraid they would like ask me to introduce myself and I'd forget my name or, you know, say something stupid, you know, all that stuff. But it's just, this whole thing is just like a baby learning to walk. You know, like when we were a kid, we didn't care if we fell down. Like we would get back up and we would take another step and wobble, and then we'd fall, and then we'd pick ourselves up and we'd take another step and fall and do it again over and over. And we didn't say, man, this walking thing sucks. Like, I think I'm going to crawl the rest of my life. You know, you're not going to be good at this stuff. And I think as adults, all of a sudden we expect to be really great at everything. And if we're not, we're like, oh man, this isn't for me. And then we stop. But that's just not the case. You're not going to be great. But if you keep doing it, you're going to get better and you get more confident, and it just flows and it works. And you start to fall in love with it. But that would be the last thing I leave you with, is all that stuff I talked about that, you know, I was not good at any of that stuff at all when I first started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. We're all in the same spot when we start out, guys. And it's just like, you know, what Amy Silverman said, the same thing on the National Wake Up Call, if you guys heard it, but she said, your first full year as a coach, I mean, it's major just trial and error. You're tripping, falling flat on your face and getting back up and trying new things. And it's a major learning curve. And you grow and learn so much. No matter how long you're in this business, you're always learning new things. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Pat. This was amazing. I know the team probably took so many notes because I did here. I'm going to keep it organized because that's one of my weaknesses, is that I'm completely disorganized. So I'm going to keep it all organized here because there are some awesome points, and we really appreciate your time, and thank you so much. And guys, hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you the next time. Bye, everyone.
See you, Dad. I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to go grab a beer too.
Water. Bye, guys. Thanks, Pat.
See you guys.